Today we're going to be working with rational exponents, and all a rational exponent is an exponent that is a fraction. So we're going to start with number 1, 2, and 3. I want you to do it on your calculator. Just practice entering in something with a fractional or a rational exponent. So I want you to go ahead and get the answers to number 1, 2, and 3 using your calculator. Since your exponents are fractions, you'll go ahead and use the alpha y equals key to put your exponent in as a fraction, and then just check back to make sure you got the correct answers. Okay, so just make sure you got all those correct. Now we're going to be using the same exponent rules that we were working with when our exponents were whole numbers, except now we're going to be doing it where our exponents are rational numbers. So just a reminder on the rules, when we have got like bases that are being multiplied together and they have exponents, our rule is that we add our exponents. So when we're looking at number 4, we've got like bases, so we bring down our base and we're going to add -3/2 plus 7/2. So that's going to be 5 to the, write it up here, -3/2 plus 7/2. -3/2 plus 7/2, -3 plus 7 is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2, so that equals 5 squared, and 5 squared equals 25. So as long as you are okay at adding and subtracting and multiplying fractions, this is the same thing. If you're not good at adding, subtracting, and multiplying fractions, let your calculator do it. Using the y equals key, you can still get the same answers. So I want you to pause your video and I want you to do number 5, number 6, and number 7 on your own, and then check back for the explanation. Just as a reminder on number 6 and 7, before you pause your video, you've got coefficients that are on number 6, a 2 and a 5. You're going to have to deal with those coefficients by multiplying them. The base of y is the only thing that's got the exponents that you'll add. So you'll need to multiply your 2 times 5 on number 6 and your 2 times -4 on number 7. So pause your video, do all the work on it, and then check back for the answers. Okay, so 1/2 plus 1/2 is 1. So we just have x to the 1 power, x. Then on number 6, we had 3/4 plus 1/2, which came out to 5/4. And then on number 7, notice I just broke it down and dealt with each one on their own and then put it all together. All right, so on number 8 and 9, we're dividing. So our rule for when we divide is go ahead and divide our coefficients like normal, and then we take our base and we subtract our exponents. So on 9 and 10, you're going to be subtracting your exponents. Go ahead and pause your video to do number 9 and 10, and then check back for the explanation. Okay, the tricky part about number 8 was when you had d to the 1/2 minus 3/4, you ended up with a d to the -1/4. So the negative means we had to put it on the bottom of our fraction, so we ended up with 3 over d to the 1/4 power. And then on number 9, as long as you subtracted your numbers correctly, you ended up with 125 to the 1/3 power. All right, our last rule to remember is dealing with the exponent to exponent, which you're multiplying inside power times outside power. So go ahead and pause your video and do number 10, 11, 12, and 13, and then check back to make sure you got everything correct. Okay, so we had c to the 5 times 3 is the 15th power, and d to the 1/2 times 3, which is the 3/2 power. And then on number 11, remembering that 16 is to the power of 1, so 1/2 times 1 is 16 to the 1/2 power, which comes out to 4. F to the 1/4, and g to the 2/6, which reduces to the 1/3. Okay, and then going on over to number 12 and number 13, And when we found out that we had m to the negative 3 power, to deal with our negative exponent, we moved the m to the bottom. That gave us x to the 1/12 over m to the third. And then on number 13, we ended up with z squared, and I went ahead and simplified 5 to the third power, which is 125. Okay, finally, we've got on number 14, a rectangle. We're going to multiply length times width, so go ahead and pause your video, multiply the length times the width, and come up to the area of the rectangle, and then check back for the explanation. Okay, so our 4x is inside parentheses. The whole thing is subject to the exponent of 3 halves. So it's really 4 to the 3 halves times x to the 3 halves times 12, which is not in parentheses. So the 12 just really has an exponent of 1, or it's just a number, times x to the 3/4. So when I simplified my 4 to the 3 halves, that was 8. And I went ahead and put my 12 next to it so I can multiply those two numbers. And then my two x's, since they're being multiplied, I add the exponents. And that gave me 96x to the 9/4.